When a major American fast food chain first arrived in Hangzhou, China, 24 locals applied for a job. 23 were hired. One man was sent home. This was not an isolated incident. He failed his primary school exams twice and his middle school exams 3 times. He applied to Harvard 10 times and was denied. After college, he applied for 30 different jobs, including KFC, and was rejected by all. He eventually found work as an English teacher, earning roughly $12 a month. But in 2014, the man who couldn't get a job at a fast food counter stood at the center of the New York Stock Exchange. His company's IPO raised $25 billion, the largest in U.S. financial history at the time. It is a strange paradox. How does someone with zero technical background and a flawless record of professional failure build one of the most valuable tech companies on the planet? When the existing systems repeatedly identify someone as a failure, that individual is forced to operate in the margins. It is in those margins, away from the traditional paths to success, where the rules of the system no longer apply. Ma Yun, later known as Jack Ma, was born in 1964 to a family of traditional musician storytellers. They lived modestly in Hangzhou, a city that was almost entirely cut off from the Western world. That isolation changed in 1972 when U.S. President Richard Nixon visited the city. Suddenly, Hangzhou saw an influx of foreign tourists, creating a sudden demand for translation and guides. For 9 years, Jack rode his bicycle 17 miles every single day to the Hangzhou International Hotel to offer free tours, trading his time for valuable English lessons. Those 9 years of daily cycling were an exercise in endurance. He was willing to trade immense upfront effort and face the friction of approaching strangers, just to acquire a skill that his peers did not have. In 1995, during a trip to the United States to settle a business dispute, Jack used the internet for the very first time. He typed the word beer into a search engine. He saw results from America, Germany, and Japan, but nothing from China. He then searched for China and found no results at all. To the rest of the digital world, Chinese businesses were effectively invisible. He returned to Hangzhou, convinced that the internet would eventually connect the world's businesses. In 1999, he gathered 17 friends in his small apartment, pooled $60,000, and launched Alibaba. But the company faced a stalemate. In the early days of Chinese e-commerce, there was no trust. Buyers wouldn't send money until they had the goods, and sellers wouldn't ship goods until they had the money. The market was stuck, both sides refusing to move first. Jack's solution was Alipay. It functioned as an escrow system, holding the payment in a secure vault and releasing it to the seller once the buyer confirmed the goods arrived. He designed this entire financial engine without knowing how to write a single line of software code. This wasn't a breakthrough in programming, it was a breakthrough in psychology. He recognized that the barrier to growth wasn't a lack of technology, but a lack of trust, and he built a bridge to fix it. Today, the marketplace that began in a small apartment facilitates trade across nearly every border on Earth. Looking back at Jack Ma's 30 job rejections, a pattern emerges. Persistence is often a byproduct of necessity. When every conventional door is locked, you are forced to find a wall you can knock down. His lack of technical skill also turned out to be a strength. Because he couldn't code, he was never distracted by the how of the software. He could focus entirely on the why, making sure the platform actually solved the user's problems. He also learned to look for the void. His most significant opportunities came not from competing in existing markets, but from identifying where the digital map was completely blank. The man who was rejected by KFC eventually built a platform that coordinates a significant share of global commerce. True innovation rarely comes from those who find an easy seat at the table. It comes from the outsiders who, having been denied a seat, decide to build a new table entirely.